Hey guys, it's Nathan, and I have a little bit of a different video today. This is going to be less emphasis on the gameplay, more emphasis on kind of what I have to say. This is going to be kind of my speculation and my theory surrounding the supply drop system in Advanced Warfare. I made a video about this a little bit ago, but I wasn't necessarily as well versed or experienced with the system as I am now. I've created multiple accounts. I've seen how it works on them relative to statistics, weapon use, stuff like that, and I've kind of drawn some conclusions based on multiple account creation and marking down exactly how frequently I get supply drops, what I get from them exactly, and just general stuff like that. But first, let me say out front, if you guys are not into theories or speculation with absolutely zero concrete hard fact proof to back it up, this is probably not going to be your sort of video. This is just purely my speculation, my own theories surrounding the supply drop system in Advanced Warfare. And I will also say up front that Michael Condrey recently replied to a tweet regarding my theory on supply drops and said that I was incorrect. I'll throw that up on the screen right now. But either way, I'm making this video mainly because I don't necessarily want to say he's lying, but I'm going to say it's possible, and you can't always believe what you hear from anybody. So I'm still nonetheless going to express these theories to you. It's up to you to decide whether you believe them or not, what have you. The gameplay you're going to be watching is some Pytake Loophole non-lethal gameplay on Retreat. Check out the KD at the end. I get a really crazy KD with this gun. No lethals, like I said, UAV system hack only, so it's pretty badass. And the second gameplay is a little bit more mediocre, but still pretty good. So anyway, getting right down to it, I want to outright come up and say that the supply drop system is a lot more complicated than people give it credit for. So far, we've kind of been led to believe that the supply drop is very simple. It's random. Everybody has the exact same mathematical chance of getting and everything in the game as everybody else, right? It's all random. It's all mathematical. That's what we've been led to believe. And while it's true, while I believe there's definitely mathematics involved, I really think it is a whole lot more complicated than the devs and people have really given it credit for, or even kind of taken a look at it. And I'll tell you why. It's because supply drops affect weapon balance. Who gets what guns in the game really affects the balance of the guns and the balance of the game in general. How many 2 KD plus players are running around with the best guns in the game, does affect the experience for everybody else in the game. It does affect weapon balance. You can't necessarily make the system completely random. I believe that it is not random. I believe that there are a lot more variables at play as to who gets what guns in the game and what determines it. And I'm going to go into it a little bit here, but the supply drop system is very complicated in my opinion. I believe that whoever programmed it, I believe it was a big project maintaining weapon balance in the game. I believe the supply drop system is very complicated. That being said, kind of a quick side note, I'm also going to take a quick note of this because this is going to kind of come into play later on with one of my other points. I believe the reason, if you guys played Advanced Warfare prior to the patch that made skill-based matchmaking a little bit more bearable, you would know that skill-based matchmaking was very, very intense in Advanced Warfare. Intense meaning you were paired with people your skill level or even greater than your skill level a lot of the time. You rarely got into those occasional noob lobbies like you did in Ghost, Black Ops 2, and stuff like that. That guy got turned on. Either way, skill-based matchmaking was more intense in Advanced Warfare. Nobody really understood why. Nobody really understood the reasoning. And I think I do. And I'm going to, tell you exactly why. I believe that, if they are going to dish out OP weapons, if they're going to dish out HBR insanities to, everybody randomly, you're going to have a really, really difficult time on your hands, because if you give some pro 2KD player the HBR insanity, they're going to make the game hell for everybody else in the lobby just because that gun is so ridiculously good. So there's going to be a limit, in my opinion, on how... But, okay, so bear with me here. I'm kind of like losing my train of thought. But what skill-based matchmaking does, the reason it was so intense, in my opinion, is because if you give somebody, a pro, a 2KD player, an HBR insanity, and then you stick them in a lobby with 2KD players as well, they're still going to be able to hold their own. it doesn't matter if that guy has a super OP gun. If you're in a lobby with really skilled players, you're still going to die regardless of what weapon they have, regardless of what weapon you have. A skilled player is a skilled player. I can pick up a KF5 and wreak havoc. I can pick up dual sacks and wreak havoc. I can pick up a freaking AMR9 and wreak havoc. A skilled player is a skilled player is a skilled player. And if it doesn't matter if you have an OP gun, if you have an HBR Insanity and you're getting stuck in a very small band of players who also are very skilled, the advantage of you having an Insanity is going to be less realized than if you get stuck in a game with a bunch of noob players. If you get stuck in a game with a bunch of noobs who can already barely kill you, even though you're using like a regular bow or something, and then you give someone like that the Obsidian Steed or an HBR Insanity, all of a sudden they're not going to be killing you, and it just makes it that much more frustrating for everybody else in the rest of the lobby. So this is kind of my theory. I believe that's a reason why the skill-based matchmaking started out being so intense in Advanced Warfare, and it kind of still is. It's much more intense in Advanced Warfare than it has been in any other COD, and I believe weapon variants play a big role in that. Yeah, either way. The next point I have to make is the fact that I have a 2 KD account. I have a 2.2 KD account on Advanced Warfare, and I do not have many good guns. I have... I believe the only 3 notable good elites that I have is the AK-12 Rip, the Bal Inferno, and the ASM-1 Speakeasy. And I got all of those guns when I was first ranking up. I hadn't even prestiged yet. I was like rank 30 when I first got the game. I got the AK-12 Rip first, and then I got the Bal Inferno and the Speakeasy from the exact same supply drop, okay? I hadn't really gotten any other good elite guns since. Never have. I have high stats on that account, and I also use the same guns every time. That account is very heavy BAL, very heavy ASM-1, very heavy IMR. I don't really experiment with a bunch of guns outside of those main 3 or 4 different guns. So what we have is a very high stats account, and we also have very low weapon variety. Okay, I use the same guns every time, and on that account I also have less elite guns than other people. So what I did is I created a brand new account, and I intentionally did crap on this account. I intentionally played bad, I intentionally went negative, I intentionally struggled, and the other thing that I did is I also used a bunch of different weapons. I increased my weapon variety. I used the AMR9 even though it's not a great gun. I used the dual sack akimbos even though it's not a great gun. I used shotguns. I went around and I sniped. Point is, I used a bunch of different guns, and I also did badly. And I will tell you what, I will throw screenshots of my armory on that account right up now as this match is loading in. Look at this. Look at this armory. This is absolutely ridiculous, and this is nothing compared to my main account. The account where I have a 2.2 KD, where I'm a really skilled player as far as Advanced Warfare supply drop system is concerned, where I'm a skilled player, where I only use a couple different guns. I do not have nearly as many things as that as I do on my lower stats account and my what's the word I'm looking for? Weapon variety account, the one where I've also used a bunch of different weapons. And that's kind of the main thing that I've noticed. 2 things that I've noticed. One being, for whatever reason, people with lower KDs seem to have the best guns in the game, and I know I'm not the only one who has seen this, where you're playing a game and you look at a kill cam, and this guy who barely knows how to shoot his gun and is going negative on the scoreboard has like the best gun in the game, right? He has an Obsidian Steed or he has an HBR Insanity. How many times has it actually happened to you guys? You know, you check the scoreboard, you die by some noob, and he has the best gun in the game, and then you check the, you know, the guns of the pros, and the pros that are killing you, and they have like maybe a professional variant, maybe they're using the AK-12 hair trigger, or, you know, maybe they have a single sack variant or something, but then you switch over to the noob who just killed you, who's going like 7 and 15, and, you know, he has the best gun in the game, or multiple of the best guns in the game, and it's absolutely ridiculous, and I think that definitely stats play a role into it, and it makes sense. Why? Because if a player is doing badly, not because of the gun they're using, but because they're just a bad player, you know, giving them a gun is going to give them a confidence boost. It's going to be like, oh, I got a new gun, maybe now I won't suck so bad. Completely disregarding the fact that they're sucking because they're a bad player, the game gives them a new gun. The game gives them something else to keep them playing the game. something else to maybe give them an edge over the competition. Why? Because they need it. They need the edge. They need the advantage over the other players because they have a lack of skill. They need the good gun to level the playing field, right? And then you switch over to the 2KD player, the player who's extremely skilled, who can do well with any gun you give him. Why would the game give him an HBR Insanity? Why would the gun give him an Obsidian Steed? Why would the game give him a Pytake Loophole? It really doesn't make any sense. You know why? Because he doesn't need it. If he had that gun, he would be freaking unstoppable. It would be absolutely insane. A 2KD player can't be given crazy awesome guns like that. Not many of them. Give him one or two, keep him happy, and then don't give him anything else because, you know, if you are sitting there and you're having fun and you're going 40-0 in some game, that means that there's some kid on the other team going 1-15 and some other kid going 2-20. And they're probably very, very upset and getting very pissed off that you're doing well. You're having a blast, but the other 6 guys aren't, you know? So it makes more sense to satisfy the 6 crappy players by giving them good guns, even though they will have good guns. You have 6 crappy players, they have good guns. They are not going to be upsetting nearly as many pro players as a pro player with that gun would. You know, if you give a crappy player an HBR Insanity, there is a limit to how many kills he can get, how good he's going to do. You know, you give a pro an HBR Insanity, there's no limit. He's going to be getting crazy gameplays. It's going to be absolutely ridiculous. I'm just using an HBR Insanity for this example because I believe it's a mega OP gun, but nonetheless, that's kind of my theory. I believe lower stats players are more prone to get good guns from supply drops. As you saw, that was my armory on my second account, my low KD account. That's what I've witnessed, and I've also tested this again on a third account. I'm not even going to bother to post that armory, but you guys get the picture. I think low KD equals better guns from supply drops, and logically, it makes sense. The second thing that Michael Condrey said was false in his response to my tweet was the fact that if you use different guns, you get different guns from supply drops. That's kind of what I feel like, and I have witnessed this, so I'm not sure exactly. I don't understand why he can just sit there and say it's false when I have witnessed this personally on many different accounts where I will be using the BAL, right? And as soon as I stop using the BAL and go, you know what, screw this, the BAL sucks, I'm going to use the HBR, the very next supply drop I get the Obsidian Steed. Or I think the same thing happened with what's it called, the ARX. I was using the ARX, and I ended up I stopped using the ARX, and I went back to using the, I believe it was the MP11 on my second account, my crappy account. And all of a sudden I got the ARX Damnation. You know, it gave me an elite of the gun that I stopped using. So I don't really know why he thinks he can sit here and say it's false. I'm incorrect when I've personally witnessed what he's claiming is false more than once, and I'm sure you guys have too. If you guys can recall when you got your elite weapons, is it, you know, after you quit using, or did you recently use them and then get them? Because personally, I've never been given a gun that I didn't use at least once. You know, I never got a SAC variant on my main account because I never made a class with the SACs. I never used the SAC 3, so it never gave me a variant of the SAC or an elite variant of the SAC on my main account. I also never used the KF5 a lot on my account. Not really at all. I can't recall the last time I used the KF5 on my main account, and I never got the breakneck. I never got the spanner. You know. From my experience, and you guys can, once again, correct me if I'm wrong, leave your own sort of thoughts in the description below. I'm very curious to hear, because once again, this is just theory, this is just speculation. Of course, there's 100% the chance that I could be wrong, but there's also a chance that I could be right at the same time. I'm just kind of curious if you guys have any thoughts about this at all, because it's just an open discussion as far as I'm concerned. I'm just giving my thoughts and feelings. You guys can do the exact same thing, but either way, I never got a elite gun of a gun that I never used. It never gave it to me. Now, what did happen is as soon as I used it and then stopped using it, I got the elite gun of that, the elite version of that gun. So I don't know. The two things that I found to be fairly true that, you know, Michael Condrey responded and said is false. is the fact that low KD players get better stuff, and the fact that if you use more guns, use different guns, you'll get more different guns from supply drops. That's kind of the two things that I came to the conclusion about. I know this was a little bit of a longer video. I know my mind kind of went in circles at a couple points, but if you guys enjoyed, if you guys have any thoughts, I'm really looking forward to reading what you guys put underneath the video. Go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching.
Pop, there goes
Nathan,
the nut.
out.
I love